Coming up on today's Next Fan Up podcast, it's a multitude of topics.
It's so hostile towards Roger Goodell now that they've got to have a moat between him and the fans.
You know what? Don't mention his name to me ever again, okay?
Well, I can give you one other way you could determine these inside defensive line guys, if they're Hall of Fame guys or not. And it's a bit groundbreaking, and you guys might struggle with the concept. It's called Watch the Game.
We're talking Hall of Fame, NFL honors, and more. Here we go.
We don't need to convince you. We know you're wrong.
That's how we start! Yeah, baby!
32 SuperFans.
Where do the reports come from? Did you get an initial?
One PodVader.
That's football.
Every angle of the NFL covered.
All that kind of stuff, I get it.
This,
no question about it,
is Next Fan Up.
We're going to unleash hell here in December.
Hello and welcome to that boring week in between games edition of the Next Fan Up podcast. Hey everybody, PodVader here. This show won't be boring. It's never boring. But it's definitely a snoozer of a week in terms of stuff. I mean, nobody cares about the Pro Bowl anymore whatsoever. Everybody's trying to do something other than Pro Bowl coverage. I mean, to the point where I think like NFL draft stuff is getting pushed like crazy this week. People are just talking about the Senior Bowl, anything other than the Pro Bowl is what we're trying to do. But the week, I think you got to have this.
Wait. What do you mean anything other than the Pro Bowl? I'm only here for the Pro Bowl, Jay.
Oh, sorry, James. This is not your show. That's James, our Falcons super fan.
Wow, really?
No, why do I do that to you all the time, James?
I don't know. Why do you do this to me all the time?
Because it's a bird and you're in Atlanta. You're an Eagles super fan.
Wow. That hurt, Jay. That hurt. But at least we have a Super Bowl with no Patriots.
Oh, wow. See. All right. I deserve I deserve it. I hurt you. You hurt me. That's the way it works. Across the pond, guy who likes to hurt everyone. It's our Washington Redskins superfan, Neil. Hello, Neil.
Beg your pardon. First of all, listener, I would say it has been a boring week, and unlike you, listener, I've had 18 minutes of these two Muppets talking about some ridiculous article. I'm so bored I could just about fall asleep.
Oh, please don't.
Oh, my God.
You can always reach us at NFU Podcast on Twitter, Facebook.com/NFU Podcast, where we have all of our content. And, of course, you can email us, nextfanup@gmail.com. We're going to get to an email in just a second. But first, I have to congratulate Blue 10 in our playoff pick'em group. Blue 10 won with 30 points. I came in second with 24, but even if I get my Super Bowl pick right, which I'm not going to unveil what my Super Bowl pick is now, you'll have to wait till next week. I can only tie Blue 10. But if Blue 10 obviously picks the same Super Bowl champion, then Blue 10 wins anyway. So Blue 10, you're invited on the show in the off season. Just reach out to us via email, nextfanup@gmail.com. And speaking of emails, we got this one from Josh. The title says "The Cowboys." He says, "I've been watching less football, but I've been listening to all the NFU podcasts." That's great, Josh. That's exactly the way you should do these, especially if your team's out of it. Don't watch the football; just listen to our podcast. I loathe the Cowboys, and as a Packer and Bronco fan today, it's like the day Smokin' Jay went to the Bears. Cowboys fans, get ready for 5-11. This must have been right after Mike McCarthy was hired. At best.
Okay, now I'm liking this.
Think Rain is a good quarterback? Watch McCarthy bury him 6 feet under while Zeke is told to run into the largest defender over and over again. Think Rain is a good quarterback. Is he talking about Dak Prescott? Why is he calling him Rain?
Because Rain is his given first name.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Rain Dakota Prescott is his full given name. Yeah.
Well, I learned something new today. Oh, nice.
Oh, gosh, Jay, how did you not know this before?
Sorry. Like watching poor tackling, Van Der Esch is going to stop using his arms while tackling. That would be ineffective. That's for sure.
It really would be.
Speaking of hurting me, ding dong, the Patriots are dead. The Broncos fan in me wants to watch Brady do the Uncle Fester stomp for the fanless Chargers. We'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. I can't be the Broncos superfan because my dog is named Packer, but they need a defender. I live on the Front Range because only the Broncos and Ravens gave the evil empire any resistance until the glorious Henry proved the Patriots need videographers or squishy balls to win. None of the superfans speak of the Broncos correctly. Well, Josh, I mean, you could be the Broncos superfan. Just because you have a dog named Packer, I don't think we would hold that against him, would we?
No, we're not.
Absolutely not.
Although, Jay, you are the expert in squishy balls.
Thank you. Thank you, Neil. If Rodgers goes off in a game or the Packers make the Super Bowl, I promise to at least email in regularly if afterwards Eagles James does a single rant where he criticizes Rodgers and defends Jameis in the same take. Did you do that at all this season?
I've done neither. I've actually been critical of Jameis and defensive of Jameis, and I haven't been critical of Rodgers at all this year. I've been critical of the Packers offense as a whole, but not Rodgers specifically.
But having said that, James, are you always conscious of what you're saying?
9 times out of 10, yes.
Okay, all right, just checking.
I love it when Eagles James defends the crab-burgling, finger-eating interception insurer. If the Seahawks win, James should just keep up the Jameis defenses. You can tell this was done before the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I mean, you defended Jameis somewhat, but you certainly came around. I mean, listen, Jameis Winston, and we're going to talk about a lot of the quarterbacks a little bit later on in the podcast, but I mean, we've been over this. Jameis Winston had a great season if you eliminated the interceptions. The problem is he almost had a historically bad year in terms of the number of interceptions he threw.
I like this Josh guy, though. Maybe Josh would like to be the Eagles superfan.
Whoa!
Since James has moved into management.
No one shifted me upstairs yet.
I hate the Seahawks so much, but at least McCarthy can't declaw Rodgers this time. MVS will. Sorry, I wrote this on my phone at 7-year-old karate. All right, Josh. Well, I wonder if Josh is the one in the 7-year-old karate class. In between his kicks, typed it up.
I'm just imagining Josh sort of karate kicking 7-year-old kids. That's even better.
Kind of like Peyton Manning on SNL throwing the ball at kids.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, Josh, thanks for emailing in. But yeah, there you go. We've discussed your email.
He could be the Broncos superfan, though, couldn't he? I mean, he
really could.
Yeah, he could. I like this Josh guy. He emails regularly as well.
Yeah, so Josh, email us back, and we'll get you set up. You can become part of the superfan group talking in our Slack channel. Let's talk NFL Hall of Fame, shall we, gentlemen? This was tweeted at us at NFU Podcast by our good friend John Paul. Who mentioned that we did this last year. And I said, yeah, we did do this last year. And you know what? We're going to do it again this year. And this year we're going to do it a week before we did it last year during this off week. So here's the task. We asked the super fans to vote for their 5 Hall of Fame finalists out of all the semifinalists that were announced. I think there's a list of 15. I put a point system on the votes, tallied them up, and we have whom we would vote into the Hall of Fame for this particular year. Now, this will be a different list, most likely, than what the actual list will be, mainly because the first difference is we only voted in 4. We did not vote in the 5 that you can vote in.
Why did we not get to 5?
Well, the reason we didn't make it to 5 is because the person who would have been our 5th candidate into the Hall of Fame received only 1 vote. It happened to be a first place vote by No Dak Pirate for John Lynch, the free safety. Unfortunately, other players who did get multiple votes had less than 5 points. So they did not make the Hall of Fame.
Can I just say that just to scupper your evidence there, your well-researched evidence, I just put the 5 names down. I didn't realize you were ranking them 1 to 5. Sorry, I didn't read the whole thing.
Oh, well, see, that's what you get, Neil, for not following instructions.
Yeah.
Read the instructions carefully.
I get enough of that at home, I'll come here for freedom.
Let's see how you would have changed any of the voting here, Neil. I'm guessing Zach Thomas would still be your 5th.
Yes, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So that doesn't change anything. Richard Seymour, where would you have put him in your 1 through 5?
Well, I have no idea what my 1 through 5 was, apart from
all right.
Zach
You had
Thomas.
Steve Atwater at 1, Steve Hutchinson at 2, Alan Faneca at 3, Richard Seymour at 4.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, that's fair enough. And then number 5, Zach Thomas.
Yeah.
Or should I say 7-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first team All Pro, Zach Thomas. 5-time first team All Pro, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Well, you were the only one that voted for Zach Thomas.
Yeah, I'm probably the only one who did research.
No.
Well, I will tell you, our number 1, no doubter.
If it's Troy Polamalu, I'm honestly no. Come on, please don't be him.
It's Troy Polamalu.
Is that why you didn't vote for Troy? Because you knew he was going to get in based on how everyone else voted?
No, I didn't vote for Troy Polamalu because I thought he was what do you call it, a sports center highlight guy.
Wow.
I'm not. I was never big on him. He was a strong safety, and strong safeties don't need them in the Hall of Fame. James, one of the sort of things I have when I look at the criteria for Hall of Fame is if I was telling the story of the NFL during whatever decade or whatever it is, could I tell that story without that player?
You can't tell it without Troy Polamalu.
You really can't.
No.
Polamalu
is a huge factor for that Steelers defense that won a couple of Super Bowls there.
Yeah, went to a third.
I'm not saying he wasn't a great player, but that not for me, not a strong safety for me. No thanks.
Both James and I clearly strongly disagree with you. Troy Polamalu, a clear having sat and listened to you guys for 20 minutes at the start of the show, I'm not taking much account of your viewpoints.
Oh my God!
Well, you mentioned you mentioned that a safety for you isn't part of the equation, and Steve Atwater is our number 2.
Yeah, we're talking about a different era, Jay. Steve Atwater played when the strong safety position meant something because the running game was so strong in the league, and you had to be a terrific run stopper as a strong safety. When Troy Polamalu played, the game had changed considerably, and I'm not, like I say, not taking away. He is a Hall of Fame guy. I just saw players in this list I would put above him.
Okay, so let me ask you this: next year, when Ed Reed is eligible, you're going to have the same defense of not voting for him?
No. Ed Reed
safety. He's a free safety.
Ed Reed was a free safety, and he was a player who fitted right in his time, and as a first ballot Hall of Famer without question for me.
Not to mention,
why is it Troy?
Have you seen his beard?
His beard is phenomenal.
Beard game on point. Yes.
James and I discussed this last week with the Centennial class. If you are a member of an all-decade team, an all-decade first team, and now if you're a member of the NFL 100 ridiculous team, you are a clear fire Hall of Famer, and Troy Polamalu is that.
I didn't say he wasn't a clear Hall of Famer. I just saw guys better in this group. The names you gave us, the 15 candidates this year, I didn't see him as one of my top 5 of that candidate. He may have been 6 or 7, but he wasn't top 5. And he is a Hall of Famer. I just saw guys better here.
Yeah,
more worthy.
This is probably one of the weakest classes I've seen in quite some time. Probably a good thing they decided to put that ridiculous Centennial class in with these guys, because this is not a strong group.
No, that's not. Agreed. Yeah.
We all agree on Steve Atwater. Atwater's late,
long overdue.
Yeah, is late to the party here, so he definitely belongs in. Interesting enough, our next 2 guys are offensive guards, and Alan Faneca and Steve Hutchinson. Faneca got 16 points. Steve Hutchinson got 15 points, just to give you the point totals from us. Steve Atwater ended up with 21 points. So Polamalu and Atwater for us were